Hello, my Teaserking family. Sorry about that. I had to freshen my hair. So, how's everybody today? So, we see the world falling apart, all the banks collapsing, Credit Suisse, Switzerland, and realize everything's connected. So, when we have problems, it affects China, it affects Japan, Switzerland, the UK, it affects all the countries because they all have money in our banks. And we probably have money in Swiss and things like that. So we're supposed to believe all these banks are run by idiots. Nobody saw interest rates going up. They all put their money in bonds. Nobody lent out money for cars or houses or businesses. And the banks put their money in bonds at a lower interest rate, which meant so they paid $98 for a 2% bond. It's now worth $88 because now it's 5%. And bankers who are in finance don't see it. I got a hard time believing all these banks are this stupid. So I don't know. Are they all run by JP Morgan? Maybe. Hard to say, but really, really discouraging. Let's see. Let's go check what's going on with gold, silver right now. It's just crazy what's happening out there. Like something is just funny, right? Lamar Jackson is ready to move on from Ravens. Well, I don't know if he's moving on or they're moving on. Dollar falls on black market. You're facing a big tax bill if you hold these mutual funds. This is why we don't hold mutual funds. All right, so let's see what's going on with our gold price today. 1967 up 910, which we know obviously is bullshit. Silver's up 21 at 22.64. Gold's up, well, on this gold price, 1948 on COMEX. It's a little bit more. And at 10 o'clock, it dropped to 1941, and now it's at 1949. Let's see what the Dow's doing. So I was on a little bit later after the dentist yesterday. I'm not sure how many people fit their time frame. Plus, they're used to it being on now. The Dow is at 32.5. Talk about a bullshit market is the Dow. I'm seeing some strange reports about about BlackRock. They're meeting with supposedly I found out one guy, BlackRock Flint, met with Zelensky, Ukraine. Okay, he wants to rebuild Ukraine when the war is over. Oh, what does he know about rebuilding? He's not in construction. He's an investment banker. And can you explain what an investment banker knows about? You got to realize Ukraine doesn't have money. And what they're paying for in the war for weapons and tanks and planes and all these missiles they're shooting down with, it's going to cost them money. They're going to have to pay those off, which they probably can't. So I didn't understand the big deal of the story. Like, oh, Larry Flint. Well, so is everybody who's in the defense contractors, of course, wants a war. They don't need a war to build bombs and machines and tanks and planes. They just need people to think they need them. And Poland orders some. That's all they need. They don't need a war. They just need people to be scared. Anyway. So I'm going to talk about the 100-unit gold lock in a minute. Let's quickly go through the basketball, which I went through yesterday. And I want to go through it again today. So today's Wednesday. We have the games starting tomorrow night, Friday, and then the winners Saturday, Sunday. Alabama, 7.5, 137 to San Diego State. Okay. I like Alabama minus 7.5. They're the better team here. They're on a roll. Now, they're not going to play in Alabama. They've been playing in Alabama. They basically had a home court advantage, which Duke and North Carolina always got, which pissed me off. They always were playing in Raleigh-Durham. Dude, it's a tournament. You can't have home field advantage. So I like Alabama minus 7.5. They score a lot. San Diego State's more of an under. So if they get down, Alabama's going to pound them. 137.5. Again, I don't like San Diego. Doesn't score that much, but has a good defense. So I'm thinking Alabama can win by 20, and we don't know where the score is going to be there. Creighton plays Princeton. Creighton laying 9.5, 140. Princeton's, to me, it's a dead even game. Princeton beat Arizona. I don't know. Very disrespectful. Okay, Creighton beat Baylor. That's not as good as Princeton beating Arizona. And then they came back and beat a good Missouri team. Oh, decent Missouri team. Creighton. What did they beat? NC State. And then they beat Baylor, who, again, not, is okay. Probably not a 2 seed or 3 seed. I like Princeton at 9.5 here. I think this is just like Fairleigh Dickinson. No respect. They made the tournament. You're giving them 9.5. The team that beat Arizona. I'll take Princeton at 9.5 all day. Again, this is like a market. Well, we don't know who they are, and they're Princeton. Oh, they stink. Yeah, they stink all the way to beating Arizona. So I like Princeton at 9.5. I'm not saying Creighton won't win, but I'll take the 9.5. Like Fairleigh Dickinson, you got 15, they lost by 8. That was probably the easiest bet I've made here. So Alabama, Princeton. Well, Princeton to 9.5, Alabama to win. Then it's Alabama, I think, gets to the Final Four. They'll beat either Princeton or Creighton, and they've had the easiest draw in the world. Very, very easy draw here. So then we got Alabama, first one in, Final Four. Then we've got the East, Florida Atlantic, Tennessee. Tennessee laying 4.5, 131. I love the under here. This is a 5-star. Go under. Tennessee's a 50 defense is unbelievable. Nobody's scoring a lot. Florida Atlantic, If it's like football, there's not much there. I like Tennessee in the under 131. This game will be very low scoring. It's what Tennessee does. They don't have a great offense, but they have a great defense. Florida Atlantic, again, it's different. They beat Memphis by 1, and then Florida, Fairleigh Dickinson, and the rest of the Animal House guys. So, I'm betting the defense here. So let's go under with Tennessee. Kansas State, Michigan State, probably the best game of the weekend. UCLA, Gonzaga, Xavier, Texas, also good games. Michigan State laying 1.5, over under 137. And I'm pondering now. Michigan State, always reasons they do well in the tournament, they play defense, and it's easier to find defensive players than big banging offensive players. So it's all a system that he plays. And State minus 1.5, I have no idea. I'm not taking State as the favorite here. Kansas State 1.5. They just beat Kentucky pretty good. They probably will win, but I like the under 137 here. Michigan State just plays good defense, slows the ball up. It's like Army-Navy football, right? We're going to take time off the clock and play defense. So it just limits the amount. They played an under with Marquette, and I just, I think it was a 67, so it was a 127 with Marquette. You're not going to get more with Kansas State. Marquette scores a lower in Kansas State. So I look for this game to also be under. So when I really don't know, and this is only a 1.5 point spread, why fuck around with the 1.5s? Take Michigan State, take Kansas State. If you know they're pretty good defensively and they're going to play Army-Navy football on you, then the prudent play is the under. So I like the under 137 in this game. I see Tennessee making the Final Four here because of their defense. So the winner of this game plays Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, which in my mind's Tennessee. They just beat Kentucky. No, they just beat Duke. And a pretty good Oral Roberts team. Everybody liked Oral Roberts. They killed them. Oh, no, Duke killed them. They beat my Lou Lafayette, and then they beat Duke. So let's give them some credit. So I see them beating Florida Atlantic, and it's Michigan State, Kansas State, either one. Both good teams, and then I see Tennessee's defense. So I see Alabama, Tennessee on that side of the bracket, and Tennessee is very capable of beating Alabama if it's them. If Michigan State can beat Kansas State and Tennessee, Michigan State could beat Alabama because of the defense. So you want the defense, just like the NFL. We want the defense. Other side, Midwest, Houston, Miami. Houston, what a defense. 55, 56 a game. 7.5, 137 to Miami, who's a pretty explosive team. I just think it's too much Houston here. They beat a good Auburn team, but what I liked is they scored 81. Here they go, 80 points on Auburn, and now they get Miami. Is Miami that much better than Auburn? Well, Miami's a 5 seed. Auburn's a 9 seed. Who knows? Auburn beat Iowa, was the 8 seed, so they're at least an 8. So who knows? The seeding's all bullshit anyway. I just like Houston. They're on a roll. It's their defense. I think they shut down Miami. They started scoring, so look out. So I'm laying the 7.5. I would do a teaser, Alabama, Houston. If I knew how to do basketball teasers, I would do it. I only do the football. This would be perfect in football. Alabama 1.5, Houston 1.5, and I could pound it. And I would do it in basketball if you can. I know somebody's asked me about teasers in basketball. This is a game I would do it. Just get them down to 1.5. Anyway, I like Houston minus the 7.5. I think they're the best team here in this side of the bracket, and they'll play Alabama or Tennessee for the championship. Xavier, Texas, two good teams. Xavier, the 3 seed, Texas, the 2 seed. So we're looking for a good one. Texas minus 3.5, 148. And I really like the over. They're both pretty high scoring teams. And hard to say, Xavier's a good team. So it's really hard to like lay 3.5 to them, right? Do I take Texas laying 3.5 to Xavier? Well, they just beat a good Pitt team who played well. Texas is the better team. I think they win the game. They have that win over Kansas that just happened, although Arkansas beat Kansas too. So how good is that win? And I think this will be a high-scoring game. So I'm going over 148 here. I think Texas wins. I'm not laying 3.5, but I'll take the 148. Basketball, there's too many backdoors you get because there's too many times you're down 5, you hit a 3, now you're down 2, and the spread's 5-4-3, and you're screwed. So I'm going to stick over 148. Houston minus 7.5. I think it's Houston, Texas, and I think Houston gets to the Final Four. Then we've got Arkansas and UConn. UConn minus 3.5, which I'm scratching my head a little bit. They're the 4 seed. Arkansas, be it the 8 seed, just beat the 1 seed. So I don't, they're not an 8 seed. And UConn beat Virginia Commonwealth and then St. Mary's. So I'm not all sold that UConn's so much better than Arkansas when Arkansas just beat Kansas. It's all streaks, like we talk about blackjack and roulette and baccarat, and it's streaks. Well, Arkansas just beat fucking Kansas, and just like Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue, I said, well, they're not going to just go away, and they lost, but by 8. But that spread was way too high last week. Florida Atlantic, Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson had some momentum, and they played well. Same thing here, Arkansas, Connecticut. I won't be surprised if Arkansas wins, but I like the over 140. I think it's more of a high-scoring game here. And so I don't mind the 140. Connecticut minus 3.5. It's just like the Texas 3.5. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Connecticut's going to win, so why would I lay 3.5? But I do know it should be a high-scoring game, and the over is 140. And I think that's the best play in this game because both defenses aren't that good, so there'll be a lot of scoring. And one thing I noticed last week, I won an over on, I think it was, I don't know who it was, Pitt Xavier maybe, or no, I think it was Kansas State, Kentucky. I bet over 142. And it's at 1:30 with a minute left in the game. I go, I lost this game. It's only 1:30. There's only a minute left. Free throws, 3-point. Free throws, because it's an automatic foul, right? The game was 5 or 6. So it was still close. So they kept fouling. So no time comes off the clock. All of a sudden, they end up with 144. They scored 14 points in 1 minute of game time, 10 of them coming on free throws by Kansas State. So if you keep the game close and it becomes fouls, then you're shooting free throws, the clock stops, you get over. So you always have that in the back pocket. So I think this game's 140, 70-70. I think it's not a problem. And I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas wins it. But I'm kind of leery of I kind of like Arkansas more than I like Connecticut, but I don't know either team in basketball, just football. This would be a lock Arkansas football. Well, it'd probably be an over also, 140. So I like the game over 140. And that leads us to UCLA Gonzaga. UCLA, the 2 seed with the injured guard, but they're playing okay. They beat Northwestern by 5, laying 7.5. I lost that. Gonzaga beats TCU, and they beat the Grand Canyon. I give them credit. The Grand Canyon obviously is the top seed that Gonzaga is going to see for a 14 seed. They beat TCU. Now they get UCLA. This is where Gonzaga folds in this type of game. UCLA is just too good. They're only laying 2.5. Here's where I do like it because I don't like Gonzaga's defense. Over under 145, I think goes over, but I like UCLA. I just have feeling on UCLA, 2.5. So, taking UCLA. So to sum it up, Alabama and Princeton. It'll be the under in Tennessee and the under in Michigan State. It'll be Houston and the over in Texas Xavier. It'll be the over near Arkansas, Connecticut, and taking UCLA Gonzaga. Now, I've already said the Final Four. I got Alabama and Tennessee on the one side. The other side, to me, is going to be Houston, UCLA. My thoughts. So I thought UCLA was going to beat Kansas anyway. Now, can Arkansas knock off Connecticut and UCLA? They beat Kansas. Don't know. Arkansas is 20-13 and 8 seed, but they play in the tough conference. They're SEC. So they had to play Alabama twice. So they're familiar with them. They had to play a good Tennessee team. So Arkansas won't be afraid against Connecticut. And then UCLA really was the king of the Pac-10. Funny, I'm watching old football on YouTube, and it was the Pac-8 in 1971. I loved it. So anyway, that's what we see. So I think I have a 5-star on Tennessee under, which I'm going to play a 5-star on Tennessee under the rest of the way. They, to me, are Georgia under football 2 years ago. Last year, Georgia under won us a ton of money, and then they started going over for some reason. But at the end of the day, we locked Georgia over in the championship game. So for 12 weeks last year, Georgia, we win every week. Then they go over with LSU, and they go over with Ohio State, and here they get TCU at the end, and we play them over, of all things, Georgia over all of a sudden. I did not have Georgia over against Ohio State. I had Georgia even, and I won it because Ohio State missed the kick. How Ohio State was even in the game was beyond me. And because C.J. Stroud looked good against Georgia running the ball, all of a sudden he's the number 2 quarterback in the draft, which just blows my mind going, what the fuck? How can he be number 2? How can he be the number 2 quarterback? They lost to Michigan. I mean, come on. All right, so that's what we've got. So, again, Final Four, Alabama, Tennessee, Houston, and UCLA. And then we'll look at the point spreads there. See, what I don't like is, we're getting 500 to 1 odds picking the MVP. And then you hear this BetMGM crap on the radio, like this is what they're betting. And I'm like, dude, you're out of your fucking mind. You know what your odds, first of all, your odds suck. Secondly, can they win any of those bets? Or these, well, I'm going to bet Mahomes to throw for 400 yards in the game. Stupid bets. They're not good bets unless you track that shit. And who's tracking that shit? I'm tracking the team. I just want to make sure Mahomes is healthy. I am not tracking how many yards, Mahomes is going to get, or how many yards Jalen Hurts is going to run for, and bet 100 to win 500 or 600. Like, those are good odds. Well, you're getting 600. Yeah, the odds are probably 1,200 to 1. You're getting 600, so you're already losing. And how many of those actually win? Please don't bet those. Please don't bet money lines. Like here, UCLA's 2.5 over Gonzaga. Don't bet the fucking money line. Lay the 2.5. If you think UCLA's going to win, lay the 2.5. The odds on them winning by 1 or 2 are so slim. It's all luck if Gonzaga hits a 3-pointer at the buzzer or not. So don't do that, please. There's no reason to. And the problem is, you're not getting the right odds. All right. I won't bet at MGM because when I played poker there they're 13 to 10 on a 2-team teaser. And I had to pull teeth to get that information out. I go to the gal behind the counter. What's your 2-team teaser odds? And I know they're 13 to 10 because that's what it was 4 years ago in Vegas when I went. And I went to cash in my 50 tickets from that one weekend when I won the 11-team teaser, the 10-team teaser. I won like 40 teaser bets. And I go to her, what are your odds? And she won't answer. Well, I don't know. Yeah, a genius. So he says, well, what do you want to bet? I says, well, I want to win $100. What do I got to bet in a 2-team football teaser? So she puts in 100, I'll win 71. I go, no, that's not what I asked you. I said, I want to win 100, not bet 100. I don't know. Okay, let's try 110, 120. Finally, 130, I won 100. I go, why didn't you just tell me it was 13 to 10? What are you wasting my time for? Which I already knew. You must keep that in consideration, what the odds are. And you must not be lazy. This is money, and this is important. You've got to do your research and try to get the best odds for you and the best line. I don't think you get the best line at MGM either. So search your lines, but I think William Hill gives you the best odds, and that's really what you want. So, again, stay away from these money lines. I know Nick likes them. I don't get them. If I got to play, if I'm laying 10 and I got to money line it so I can feel comfortable about winning, don't play the game. Look for a dog. Play the dog. Tease it up to 16 if you got to money line it. So be careful with all these stupid how many yards, how many points is this guy going to get? And that it's just – those are all rigged bets. They're terrible odds. And if you need the action, just bet the game. But please don't bet. Just take UCLA, lay the 2.5. Just go over 140 in the Arkansas game. Stop fucking around with the money line. Because I don't want to see you lose because you're making bets that are bad odds. The money line odds, what is the real money line odd? I guarantee you it's higher, especially if you want the dog. So if the favorite's 700, why is the dog 400? Why isn't the dog 700? At least if I'm laying points, it's -3 or +3. It's not -3 or +1. Well, that's what a money line is. It's -700, but if you want the dog, it's +400. You're like, I've seen some dogs that were like the favorite's 1,300, and I've liked some of these dogs, and but I'm getting 800. Why aren't I getting 1,300 if the favorite money line is 1,300? Why isn't the dog money line 1,300? So don't like that. Anyway, so I'm feeling better about college basketball now that I've seen a weekend, gotten a feel for him. We'll go from there. I like that Houston finally woke up and started to put a good game in against Auburn. Now if they play Alabama in the finals, I would take Houston. That defense, I seriously think it's going to be Houston, Tennessee. They got the best two defenses. And we know defense wins. UCLA might be able to give Houston a game. Alabama probably will give Tennessee a game, but they play each other. They're in the same SEC, so this will be very interesting. Plus, Tennessee could knock them out twice because they knocked them out in college football. So that would be sweet if Tennessee can beat them in both sports. NFL draft, I don't know why nobody's talking about. There's a few quarterbacks. So you got Hooker from Tennessee, but he sucks all of a sudden. He put up 50 points on Alabama. Okay, not Northwestern. Alabama, he puts up 50 points and nobody's talking about him. Jefferson from Arkansas. Fuck, that guy is very good. He put up a big number in the SEC. Bennett from Georgia. Let's not talk about him. Hayner from Fresno State. Oh, he's too small. Oh. All of a sudden, you got to be 6'5" to be quarterback in the NFL. Those four right there, I don't get. Nobody's talking about them. Why? If you want a mobile quarterback, and you're looking at Richardson. What the fuck are you doing? No. First of all, Hooker and Jefferson are very mobile. Arkansas is Jefferson, Tennessee's Hooker. I saw Hooker avoid Alabama all day long. He'd slip out, he'd get a little bit of running, but he's more. He reminded me of Russell Wilson and Mahomes. He could make good throws. He could run when he needed to, but he could kind of slide around in the pocket and then throw these beautiful 40-yard passes to these guys. I don't know why nobody's talking about Hooker or Jefferson. Jefferson is more athletic than Florida's quarterback, and he can throw a whole lot better. He's like Lamar Jackson who can throw. He can hit the guy. He's a very good quarterback. We bet him all the time. We won tons of money on him, all the overs. The over on Kansas, that was the bowl lock. Easy. He's a very good quarterback. He's a winner. I don't know why nobody's talking. Stetson Bennett, he only national titles. So when it's convenient, if the Alabama guy does it or the Ohio State guy does it, oh, he's the best. But when the Georgia guy does it, oh, well, he's too small and, he's not very good. Yeah, the comeback against Ohio State sold me, but I was sold before. So, I mean, Bennett and Hooker and Jefferson and then Jake Haener, the comeback he made against UCLA 2 years ago, he got hurt and he's still in the game limping around, and he throws a corner pattern at the 10-yard line into the end zone, and Fresno State beats UCLA. And UCLA had their good team. They had Thompson Robinson and everything else. And you're sitting there, but what? What's wrong with Haener now? And he did good this year, even though the coach moved on to Washington. So Penix looked better, but I'm confused. Penix and Nix and Rising are not in the draft. Van Dyke, they'll be in next year because of COVID. They're using this extra year, and I don't understand Rising, what the fuck he's doing. He should be there. Thompson Robinson, another excellent quarterback who can run and throw. He's like Jefferson. He's like Hooker. UCLA scored 45 points a game. The quarterback's no good, though. There's a big difference between what he did and what Ohio State's guy does, because Ohio State's guy is a system guy, and the Alabama guy is a system guy. Not a UCLA. It's not a system thing. And the same thing. So all Tennessee's certainly not a system, and neither is Arkansas. Certainly, you got your quarterback running. What kind of system is that? So I don't get that those five quarterbacks, and even I would say Duggan from TCU, that guy's a winner. So I don't really get everybody's all over Stroud from Ohio State and Richardson from Florida. Did anybody watch the Florida games? He struggled to complete 50% of his passes. I don't get it. I don't understand how stupid these idiots are. I'm sorry. I don't get it. So anyway, that's my point with the draft. They're looking left and they need to be looking right. How do you miss Hooker? What he did for Tennessee last year? Are you fucking kidding me? 50 points against Alabama, but we don't want him? Really? You want Richardson, who put up nothing, who lost to Kentucky? I mean, this is the guy you want? Then you wonder why the team went. Look at Fields for Chicago. They won 3 games. And you wonder why the coach gets fired and the GM gets fired, because they draft Fields after they drafted Mitch Trubisky. This is a franchise that seriously needs somebody like me who can tell you, no, Trubisky sucks. Fields went to Ohio State. Forget him. No, you don't go. You want a quarterback? Go get Rising in 2 years. You've got to be kidding me. Or pick up. If I'm the Bears, I'm going to pick up Hooker. I'm going to go Hooker or Bennett. That's it. And they're going to win for me. And then I would pick up a bunch of Georgia players. The running back, half their defense, their tight end. I love their tight end. I'm drawing a blank on him, of course. But that's who you want. I hear on the Lions talk, there's this defensive end from Georgia, Carter or something. I don't know. I have to do some research on him. And they're saying, well, he had a speeding ticket. Okay, these are football players. They're not normal, right? They like contact. They don't really obey the law, and what do you I can show you. I can show you Jamie Dimon's mafia, and he runs a bank, so it really doesn't matter. So I don't get the problem. These are football players. So the guy had a driving ticket, or had a speeding ticket. Let's not draft him. Okay, that's why you're the Lions. We can only draft choir boys to play football. I mean, this isn't Ford Motor Company hiring accountants. This is the football team. And I must say, I'm very excited that Ford's going to have to sell the Lions because they moved to electric cars and there's no demand for the electric car. So Ford's going to go broke, or they'll probably get a bailout. But Ford's going to go broke, and then they'll have to sell the Lions because they need money. Why would you, as Ford, go into the electric car company when there's no fucking profit in it and there's no demand? So I'll be excited when Ford goes broke and has to sell the team. We've been dying for that for years here. It's always been because they hire shitty coaches, shitty GMs. They never re-sign their players after the first contract, so they never have a good team. When they start getting a good team, like Darius Slay, he goes to Philadelphia. Look at the running back. I don't even remember his name. They didn't sign him. Guy scores 17 touchdowns, all like inside the 5-yard line. He's got a nose for the end zone. They don't re-sign him. How are you going to get better? He's got the continuity with the line. It's a whole chemistry thing. You finally get it, and then you're moving. Then you're letting the guy go. Now you think the next guy's just plug and play. Like, oh, he'll fit in fine, and he'll find the end zone. And you don't think they'll be lucky to get 10 touchdowns from whoever they replace him with? This is the Lions' problem. They're too cheap. Look at the coach. The coach sucks. He's never coached before. He's cheap. The GM, never GM before. He's cheap. So, I mean, that's the problem. But anyway, I'm kind of like, I'd pick up the Georgia tight end real quick, too. If I can figure out his name, I can get it. I just, for right now. Okay, so I think we covered NFL. Let me know if you have anything. So I was looking at these, and then I see it says Black Stone, not with Black Rock. Now at a 40-year high and rising, and with Washington dead set. I thought Blackstone was Black Rock, so I made that mistake. Blackstone, unless it's a division of BlackRock, is not what I thought it was. Then we've got the banking collapse. As I started, all these banks are so stupid they don't understand interest rates. All of a sudden, this is all they do. They get the money coming in, and then they pay out 1.5% on interest for everybody. And then to make money, they go take their money that they get, print more money for loans, or you give $10,000, they invest it in they're supposed to invest. They're supposed to loan it out for 5%, make 4%. But when they can't loan it out, then they are supposed to go and get something safe. So they put it in treasuries, and they didn't know the interest rates are going up. Why would you put it in long-term treasuries? Apparently, right? So if the treasuries are 2% and you got Powell raising rates, maybe I should just do it for 90 days and re-roll it, right? I'm a bank. I can just roll it over. No, let's do a 2% for what? What do they do? 5 years? And now he's raising rates. Now they haven't lost money until they sell, but that's what's happening. So I don't know. I can't believe all the banks are this stupid. Then this BlackRock thing. This is the last thing. BlackRock. So in it, this guy talks about how BlackRock has stock in the defense contractors, and BlackRock is making all this money because of the war. And BlackRock apparently met with Zelensky and said, "Hey, you know what? We'll rebuild Ukraine after the war." So they already have the war over, and they're already rebuilding them. And we'll come in and well, they're not a construction company. What do they know about rebuilding? And so, they're trying to make them look like they're going to make a lot of money because they're going to help rebuild Ukraine. Well, first of all, you're not in construction. Secondly, Ukraine's not going to have any money to pay you because Ukraine has to pay for all the military aid and the tanks and the missiles. They owe that money. It's not free. So when the U.S. or Poland or Germany gives them missiles or gives them tanks or anything, they're getting charged for it. They don't have money. At the end of this war, they're going to be broke. They're not going to have money to give BlackRock money to rebuild them. Unbelievable. And who cares if BlackRock rebuilds them? I don't really give a shit. Somebody's going to make a lot. Somebody made a lot of money rebuilding Europe after World War II. Who cares? Good. Maybe they'll provide jobs. I don't know. I was just watching Other People's Money again. I like that. Danny DeVito plays an investment banker in the late 1980s. And so he finds this company that the book value, so all their parts, the machinery, equipment, plant are worth $25 a share, and the stock price is $10 a share. So he buys what's called book value, meaning the assets on the book are worth more than the stock selling for. So he buys the stock at 10 with the thought of, well, I'm going to buy the company and then sell all the assets. It's a no-brainer, and I'll make $15 million. So he goes and does that, and, oh, I hit something. I thought I was fucked. It's funny. It's very like I moved to a different tab. I thought I lost this. So he goes and they do this stockholder speech, and then the stockholder speech, he goes, the president of the company is trying to say, no, we don't want to lose jobs. We'll lose jobs. Socialists, right? We'll lose jobs if he takes us over. Even losing money. Like this division, cable and wireless is losing money, but let's keep going with it because these people will have jobs. That's not what it's about. It's about making money and keeping your company healthy. Sounds like what Ford does, right? They all their cars lose money because they can't sell them. So then Danny DeVito comes up and he says, well, if the yen does this and this does this, it doesn't matter because it's obsolete. Nobody's using cable and wireless anymore. They're using fiber. Excuse me. They're using fiber optics. We go back to Say's law. So you're using this product that is not needed anymore. So you're trying to sell fiber optics to a market that says we don't want it, right? Now you're doing inverse of Say's law, like the electric cars. We have cable and wireless. It used to be for like roads and stuff, and there's no demand for it. So your question is, how does the president of the company fucking work there if he doesn't understand the most basic premise of economics, which is there has to be demand, we make the product. We can't have a product that now there's no demand, and he said horse and buggies. So before cars, in the 1910s, you had horse and buggy. That's how you got around. If you ever watch like an old Sherlock Holmes or these old movies from that go back to 1900, it's horse and buggy. Even in the Nazis in World War II, were using horseback for a lot of their soldiers. Even though you see the tanks driving by, most of the men were on horseback. So you're again, there's no demand. Now, how can the president of the company and the owner of the company not see this? but Danny DeVito sees it as the investment banker. So he's making the speech, if this and this and this, Say's Law doesn't exist, although he didn't say Say's Law. There's no demand for it. Therefore, if there's no demand for it, it doesn't matter what happens because nobody's going to buy our product. So you're wondering, you're the president of a company, and this really scares me, is how stupid people are that don't use or understand economics. Understand what I teach. How easy is it to go Say's Law? I'm okay. We want this, you make it. But you can't play this side of the equation without this side. Oh, electric cars, no demand. Central bank digital currency, no demand. No, you go down the list, no demand, no demand, no demand. So therefore, there's no demand. You better not make the product. And that's what you're doing with electric cars, no demand, very little demand. So Tesla will be out of business soon, and they'll like, oh, we thought there'd be demand. It's like how stupid they are, right? So you don't chase something there's no demand for. So Danny DeVito wins the runoff where they voted. He wins. He closes it up, sells all the equipment, makes a bundle. And you're just looking at the president, and the owner was Gregory Peck. And I kept saying, he needs to be in Navarone for the Guns of Navarone movie. He needs to get out of Connecticut and back to the war. He's lost his marbles. He was so good in Guns of Navarone. But anyway, you can't understand how, and the president's crying and selling his shares to DeVito for $1 million. Oh, for $1 million, I'll sell you my shares. DeVito says, if I need them, I'll give you $1 million. If I don't need them, I'll give you $500,000. Just voting purposes. He wins by like 400,000 votes. And again, he goes to the shareholders and he says, so he's doing his speech, like Gregory Peck does his speech, going, well, we can't, these guys need their jobs. We can't do that. And DeVito goes, well, I'm not your best friend. I'm your friend. I want the shareholders to make money. He doesn't. He wants the employees, very socialist look. He wants the employees to have jobs, even though the stock price is down to 10, because what he's giving the jobs isn't making money. Who the fuck runs a business and doesn't make money at it? Are you kidding me? So with that said, then you have DeVito going, well, I'm going to give you jobs. I'm here for the shareholders. We're going to make a ton of money because we'll close it down and then we can sell them off and we're worth a lot more. And the stock will go up because of that. So that's kind of what he did. And I got the movie being in finance, and then you scratch your head. It's like banks now. What are they doing? And yet there's so many banks in trouble. It's ridiculous. Anyway, with that, now let's get to my title, 100-unit lock, gold 100-unit lock. And I'm thinking about this, and I did my video yesterday. I don't know how many people saw it, so I want to repeat. And I've shown you a clip of the movie. Let me re-show you that clip. That was a nice clip. If I can find it. I think it's this one. Yeah. Co-chairman of Goldman Sachs served as Treasury. Robert Booth, co-chairman of Goldman Sachs, served as Treasury Secretary and equipment. And when Gates becomes... No, this isn't the one I wanted to show you. There's one when he's bitching. Here's the one. What's going on? I'm sorry to tell you this, but we know it's been delisted from the exchange. Delisted? What was that?
There's an investigation going on right now. To what? Investigation. With this investment portfolios. It looks like a significant portion. You don't know? No, I don't know much right now. In a broker, it's what you do, it's what you get paid for. But you put my money into anything suspicious. So my own first net. I only invest in clean deals, but it seems that the firm itself is behind all this. If I can't really tell you anything else, this thing is a real snowball. How's this possible? We'll just have to wait until the investigation is through. I mean, it seems that your investment was good and as it should be, but then everything lost its value. But the question is, did the firm have knowledge that the original investment was bad? You just said you wanted the unclear deals. I do. I'm the player here. They're not the whole game. And do I look happy to you? You're not the only one hurting because of this. Your investment, my investment, the investments of a lot of unfortunate people. You told me, you promised me that they could 10% of my investment, guaranteed. And that is what my firm told me. I searched it out, I did my research, my office manager told me to put my clients into this. What else did you put money into? Notes backed by commercial real estate. And look, these looked like great buildings. I checked the specs, I did the research. They looked like they would be full capacity. Okay, but now they're sitting there. Did you inspect these buildings? Did you inspect these properties?
Okay, I think we got the gist. So this guy is the assault guy. He goes and kills everybody. Gets a little pissed. So he was the guy on the right. The guy on the left was his broker. And how did you lose my 6,000? I thought it was safe. Well, what did we hear? You said it was guaranteed 8 to 10%. Well, right there is an oxymoron. You can't have no risk and get 8 to 10%. It doesn't work. If you get 10%, there's risk because you've got to get this. So if the properties get interest rates go up, people can't afford the properties. Boom. Well, Howard, what the hell does this have to do with gold? So as I say, if the guy on the right, instead of looking for an 8 to 10% risk-free return, which is impossible, for his 60,000, would have put it in gold, they wouldn't be having that conversation. He wouldn't have killed anybody. His 60,000 would have turned into 100,000 and no risk. And nobody can come up with these bullshit claims of, oh, we thought there was no risk. I was told by my office there was no risk and it would be fine. Da, 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 da. He walks away. Oh, well, we lost your $60,000. The guy on the right's wife's having cancer, can't afford it, loses his job because now he lost his money and he's a bond, bail bond guy type of thing that he can't have that on his record. So he loses the job. The wife's got cancer. He can't afford the medical bills. Anyway, why didn't he invest in gold? If he invests his 60,000 in gold, and as I showed yesterday, in 2008, it was $850. If he just waited a few years, it went up to like $1,400. So not only would he have no risk, he would have made, let's say 50% on his investment with no risk. Hence the 100-unit lock on gold. If you buy gold, you don't give a fuck what the banks are doing now because you're not affected by it. I feel bad for the people then, but what have I been screaming? Get out of the. I have a friend in Vegas. So for 2 years ago, a year before I went to Alabama, which is now a year and a half. A year and a half ago, I went in November. I came back in March. So I've been home a year. So for 2 years, I can get out of the stock market, buy gold and silver. And I've had several people go, how do I buy it? And I said, just go buy the coins. Go buy the coins that say 1 ounce of gold. If it's Maple Leafs, Cougarans, U.S. Eagles, buy the silver that says 1 ounce of silver. And they're all made by that are like the Buffalo that are, say 1 ounce of silver on it. So you can't get fucked up. It's simple. You get out of a depressing currency. So again, you get out of this is the killer here, right? So this is losing value because of what the inflation is, which is the devaluation of the money, making it worth less. The more these idiots are printing, the less this is worth. So your first goal is to get out of this shit. So even if the guy had turned 60,000 into 70,000 and had 70,000 in his account, he would still go to zero as this goes to zero. So you're still going to lose in paper. All you're doing is taking 20,000 of these and buying $20,000 worth of gold and or silver. That's all you're doing. If you need the money back, you go back to the gold store, and he's more than happy to take your gold and silver and pay you spot for it. And if you really need a little bit more, you go on eBay and sell it. And it'll be bought in 5 seconds. It is hugely demanded. So as I said, the wireless company had selling in a wire was obsoleted. Nobody was using the wires anymore, cable and wire. Gold, where there's no demand for cable and wire, the demand for gold, Mantle, Brady, Michael Jordan is through the roof, silver. And so the price should be here. So you can see the difference is this side. Oh, electric engine, electric cars, no demand. Central bank digital currency, even less demand. And then we get the Mantle cards, the gold and silver, huge demand. So we always want to be on this side, right? We want to be on this side. We don't want to be on this side. This side's supposed to make what we want. I want Chinese food. Okay, you open up a restaurant that serves Chinese food. I had to get my teeth fixed. My tooth got cracked, so I had to get it. The guy put some cement in it. Didn't fill it, but it just. So the dentist is there because there's demand. I needed my tooth fixed. A doctor's there. You break your leg. So these are there because of the demand. Risk, right? Can't lose. It's impossible to lose with it because there's always demand for it. Now, even though Comex, JP Morgan fucks around with it and keeps it down, it's all fantasy. It's not real physical demand. Now, the question is, when does the physical demand and finally go? When does Russia, China finally put their dollars out on the gold standard? And the U.S. is fighting them, and they want to go to war. That's what they're going to war over. They want to fight China. They might say it's about Taiwan. It had nothing to do with Taiwan. It's about they want to put out a dollar backed by gold. And the same thing with Russia. The only difference is they're already at war with Russia, which they won't fight. So they're not going to start fighting Russia. But that's what they want. They don't want competition for the dollar. They want the gold standard. But what they're missing is nobody wants the demand for the dollar is here. So here's the dollar. The demand was here. It was the world reserve currency. Now nobody wants it because you're putting sanctions out and you're inflating it. And now it's out. It's gone. Just a matter of time till they bury the body, but it's basically gone. Now they're doing, Powell does the interest rate hikes. That's also partly the inflation. And when nobody wants it, the banks are all going to collapse because the dollar is worthless. Now, the central banks have been buying gold and silver. Why haven't the Wells Fargo, Chase, JP Morgan's been buying gold and silver? And I think JP Morgan has been buying. I know he's bought a lot of silver. I don't know about gold. Warren Buffett bought silver. All right, so these guys aren't entirely stupid, but mostly stupid. So if you were to buy gold instead of stocks or a mutual fund, let's look at the risk. Zero. It is not going to zero. It's been around since the Romans, and then it didn't go to zero until they took all the gold out of the gold coin and made it copper. Is when it went. But the gold itself, if you still had the gold coins, they were worth a fortune. So gold never loses its value. It's always hugely demanded because you can't destroy it, and it looks nice, and it's accepted. And let's not forget the qualities of medium of exchange. Portable, so a little bit does a lot of work. Scarce, high value. Gold is very scarce. Overabundance loses value. You print a lot of dollars, you lose the value, and that's what you've done. Divisible for small exchanges. Gold is divisible. They have tenth of an ounce, quarter of an ounce. Same thing with silver. Fungible. Everything is the same. Gold's gold. It might be different countries printing it, but 1 ounce of gold. Acceptance. Everybody loves gold. Not a lot of people are not accepting this anymore, right? So when you look at, we'll do this in a second. So everybody loves gold, and it's durable. It's indestructible. You cannot destroy. You cannot destroy it. Now let's look at the dollar. Portable. A little bit does a lot of work. No, a little bit does a little work. Scarce. No, it's not high value. It's overabundant. Divisible for small exchanges. Yes. Fungible. Everything is the same. Replaceable. Yes. Acceptance. It's losing acceptance to 80 countries. Durable. Yeah, I guess it's durable. That's why they have debit cards and credit cards. So this lost two of it. It's not acceptable, and it's not scarce, and it's really not portable. A little does a lot. It's portable in the sense that you have it in your credit card and debit card. So my debit card could go with me to Switzerland, but I don't have value. So it is that way, but it's not a lot. So gold has all those, and gold's gold. So what's the story? Well, it doesn't pay a dividend. Really? But it's not priced right either. It's like my favorite, Bobby, for you. It's like this being kept at the $2 price. Well, we know this sells for $50 at Target or Meijer or whatever. At least I haven't checked it recently, but it was $50 because I said, well, what's it worth now? I paid 15 or 20 for it. 1990. I was working there in 1997, 98. Because I know because my dad died when I was there. He died in 97. So it's 97, 98. And this was 15 or 20 bucks. We had to buy it for Christmas. You had $200 to buy liquor and give them out as gifts. So I bought this as a gift to myself. And all I had to do was pay tax on it, which was $2 or something. So if I'm keeping the price down on that, it's really worth more, right? So gold, there's no dividend, but it's worth more. I'm the guy in the movie, and I just lost 60,000. Well, if I bought $60,000 worth of gold and silver, would it be worth zero? No. Could there be excuses that, oh, we didn't realize this and that, and the firm told me this and that? No. Nothing can happen to gold. It's gold. So as I'm thinking, it being an INFG, and my thinking process is different than everybody else's, and I can see and read things that most people can't see and read, it's stumbling on me that if you just buy your gold and silver and you fuck all these investments and stocks, why do you buy stocks? I'm not going to say greed because greed's good. You buy them because you think you're going to make money. Why do you think you're going to make money? Well, it's Microsoft, it's Apple. They got the phones. People pay $1,400 for the phones, and the demand will never go away. Well, what about inflation? Oh, yeah, they'll still buy the phone for $1,400. Oh, really? I don't think so. I would imagine Apple is going to get crushed soon, as every other company will. I can't pay my utility bills. I can barely afford food, but you know what? I'm going to go buy a $1,400 Apple phone. Really? So you buy stocks to make money. And if I buy gold, there's no dividend. It doesn't go. Look, it doesn't go up. Oh, really? It went up. As I stated yesterday, it was $845 in 2008, and a few years later, it was $1,100, $1,200. Then it went up to $1,500, $1,600, and now it's at $1,900. What do you mean it doesn't go up? It's gone up. If you just held it in 2007, it was like $800. If you just bought it and held it, you'd have 2.5 times it. And okay, maybe you made more in Tesla or Amazon. Maybe you did, but you still took a lot of risk, and now you're risking the stocks going down. So you buy stocks to make money, but you have huge risks that you don't realize. Okay, I get it. But you can also lose money in them, right? You can't lose in gold because it can't go down. You can have JP Morgan price fixing it down in COMEX, and it has a little bit, 1900, 1700. But at the end of the day, it's not a losable game. It's a winning game because but it's like I got to wait a few years to make 50% on it. But that's why the game's being played in COMEX. Once we get out of COMEX, which is what we're waiting for BRICS, gold-backed dollars, or this gold system, or this physical gold exchange, whatever the fuck it is, to get. So you have COMEX here, so they're fucking around with the price, and then you have Russia here going, we're going to come out with a physical price. We got 20,000 tons of it, and China's sitting there going, and we got 40,000 tons, and we're tired of this bullshit pricing. We want the price to go up now because we need the money because, they're both fuck. China's fuck with the real estate market and Russia's in a war. So they both kind of want the price to go up. Now, if you let the price go up and it wasn't bullshitted by COMEX, it would be at least $40,000 an ounce right now, gold. You got a war, you got inflation, you got everything that would make the price go up. But it's being held down. And even being held down, it's still going. It still went up 100. It went from 1810 to 1990 last week. And then they're selling their derivatives to lower the price. You see gold down $10, $20 today. It's the derivatives. It's not real. It's not people selling. It's not physical. It's derivative. So keeping that in mind, if you put $60,000 in gold, you're not losing anything. All right, maybe JP Morgan gets it down from 1900 to 1800. All right, I lose $100. Maybe I'm at 57,000. He could never go from 60,000 to zero in gold. The banks are all in crisis. I got my money in gold. I don't care. It's not meaningful to me. I'm not in the bank. I recently pulled money out of my E-Trade into my bank. So that was my retirement money. And then I grabbed it and put it in my safe and bought some more gold with it. Bought a lot of silver with it. So I'm thinking out into the future, but I'm not worried about my silver. I pay $25 an ounce for it. I see spot at 22. Do you think I'm worried? Fuck no, I'm not worried at all. I know it's not a real price. So when I walk in being the professor and I can buy it for 25, in my mind, I'm buying a $2,000 ounce silver for 25. That's how I think. And if this guy would have put the 60,000 in silver or gold, silver was very cheap then too. He couldn't have lost, right? And maybe in a short term you could lose, but you're going to lose that in the stock anyway. All right, in a real estate investment trust, which is what these annuities are real estate. If the people stop paying because they can't afford it, guess what happens? The whole thing blows up. That's what happened to Goldman Sachs and the Margin Call movie and all these movies. As the interest rates go up, because you bought a variable rate, it's going to collapse. People won't be able to afford it. And then they are either going to be forced to sell it at a loss, or they just walk away going, I can't afford the payment. I walk away. Money doesn't come in to the JP Morgans, to the Goldman Sachs. So they can't then pay you what you've got your money in these real estate investment trusts. And they go, oh, we got to sell them and we'll take whatever. And, oh, by the way, that 8% you're getting, you're fucked. Just like I just showed you. He's fucked. You've just lost all your 60,000 because we don't care about you. We care about Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan. We care about the company. We don't care about the person. Again, you're relying on other people, which you don't ever want to do. You don't want to rely on people if you can do it yourself. So if I have gold, I don't have to rely on anybody. I just got the gold and I know it's being price fixed, so I understand. So if it does drop $100, I know it's bullshit and I know it's worth a lot more in the middle of a war and inflation and a recession and a depression. People are already running out of money out of banks and they're pulling their money out of the banks. They see what's happening. So you're at JP Morgan, you're pulling 100 grand, 200 grand out and you're buying gold and silver because there's no other place to put your money. You can't afford houses because of the interest rates. Bitcoin's a mirage. I think I've shown you that, where I'll show you that again. Bitcoin's a mirage. And then the only place left is gold and silver. Maybe the stock market, but we know that's going to get crushed. So we don't really want it there. Jesus.
Last warning. If you do not get your $25,000 funeral benefit this week,
outside regulation, and you have to ask why. You have to ask what are the risks. The stablecoin like Tether refuses new extraordinary measures to try.
Okay, this is our buddy Alistair.
And
this is his thought of crypto.
To keep it from tumbling down.
I called this guy and I said, your questions are ridiculous. You talk so long, nobody remembers your questions.
Here, to keep kind of abreast of what's happening in the banking and currency markets. Well, yes. I mean, I think there is another danger, which is going to come and do exactly the opposite of what everybody expected, and that is the cryptocurrency situation. I thought ahead of this, I ought to look and see what the current capitalization of all the cryptocurrencies are, and so far as I can see, it's still over $1 trillion. Now, that is not just in America, that's spread around the world, admittedly, but American interests are probably a significant slug of that. You've got banks, you've got exchanges, you've got everything. I mean, that is not a small amount for people to lose. And that is another problem I think that the authorities have in terms of trying to deal with. I mean, I think that they would quite like to see this cryptocurrency thing just disappear. And that might just color the way in which they handle cryptocurrency banks. I mean, for example, Signature. And there was also Silvergate, which is a sort of crypto type bank. I mean, these things are beginning to fall apart. And I think that could well color the way the authorities deal with these banking collapses. I wouldn't for one moment see a combination of Silvergate and Signature as being the equivalent of a Lehman, as it were. But, I mean, we could be talking about some fairly significant sums being lost within that cryptocurrency world. And also the other thing is that the stable coins, nobody has, to my satisfaction, answered, what actually backs these stable coins. And I don't think Tether has ever been audited. And so on that basis, I would think, well, if there is a deficiency there, then that's another real area of risk. I mean, in the broadest sense, when you start having the financial system beginning to fall over, you'll find that all sorts of things happen out of the blue. And I suspect that this cryptocurrency world is going to be very, very dangerous. I can see that being literally kiboshed completely. So I think that's another area where I hope people haven't been too misled into the idea of thinking that Bitcoin is the new gold and whatever. I don't care about Bitcoin. All I know is that it can't be legally money. And also it is at the center of a completely corrupt, I think, is probably not too strong a word, a system which is beyond regulation. I'm not saying that regulation is a good thing, but what has happened is that these are people who deliberately set themselves up outside regulation, and you have to ask why. You have to ask what are the risks. And when you find that a stable coin like Tether refuses to have itself properly audited, that to me is a major warning signal. It really is. So I think that's another area I would say.
So for you people who give me shit about crypto, take that. Again, it's not backed by gold. So let's look at money. Is crypto portable? A little bit does a lot of work. It's on your phone for portable, but there's a little bit do a lot of work. I don't know. Is it scarce? I don't know. We know Bitcoin's got 21 million. Is that scarce? I don't know. Overabundance. I don't know what kind of, I don't think it's that scarce because it loses value. Divisible for small exchanges. I guess you can buy an eighth of a Bitcoin or a 16th of a Bitcoin or $100 of a Bitcoin. Is it fungible? Everything is the same. It is fungible. It's just a Bitcoin, but we don't really know what it is. Is it acceptance? No, there's no acceptance. I don't accept it. A lot of places don't accept it. If you're in the Bitcoin world, you would accept it, but there's too many people outside the world that don't. And is it durable? Well, as long as you have electricity, it's durable. Hey, Bobby Bo. I was just explaining why gold is a 100-unit lock. And so to explain it, Bobby Bo, was what are your choices? So I showed that bit of the assault on Wall Street. The guy loses 60,000. And my lock is if he had gold, he would have had 80,000 and he'd be able to easily sell it. And his odds on losing everything and going to zero are zero. That's why it's a lock. Because after I start thinking, and you know how us INFJs are, when I start thinking out of the box the way I do, I started to realize if you would have just kept your money in gold since you turned 21, and well, in your case, if you would have taken your baseball earnings and bought gold with it, you would have no risk, and you'd be I don't know, you'd have 100 times more money than what you did, because you could have, in your age, what you're playing in the 80s and 90s, gold was $250 an ounce in 95, and we know it's fake ounce, it's fake price, but you still could have got it for $250. And so you'd have made almost 10 times on your money, because let's say it's 2,000 now with no risk. See, my point is high return, no risk. Where the fuck are you going to find it? And nobody can print it, and nobody can tell you, oh, the firm lost it, or because Joe didn't pay his mortgage, the RIT you bought at 9% is now no good because we're not getting the money. We're not getting the Ponzi scheme. They're not paying the mortgage, so therefore I can't pay you your dividend, and you can't make your 8%, which is what happened to the guy in the movie. He says, well, you've lost all your money. Well, if you have gold and silver, that would never be the case. First of all, you've got the gold and silver. So I suppose the only thing that could ever possibly happen is if they found a million ounces of, 20 million ounces of gold's discovered. That would hurt the value, but it would still not make it go to zero. And you're in something that since the Roman Empire has had value. So it's not like it's something new. Bitcoin, I just explained, it's not real. It's never money. It's never gold. It's not backed by anything. We have no idea how the price is coming. At least in the Mantle card or the Bonilla card or the Tom Brady card, you have Tom Brady. You have the player, right? You have the card. You have the player. It's graded. You have something physical, which you do not have in Bitcoin. So again, my initial argument, just to repeat for Bobby Bo, is why do you make money, you pay your bills, so the rest of the money, you do what? You invest because you want to make more money. And somebody like Nick will buy the Joe Burrow cards, and me and Bobby will buy gold and silver, and Nick's got silver too. And so you invest your money. Most people don't know what to do. Get a broker and buy stocks and gold, stocks and bonds with it, or mostly stocks. Oh, broker says, do you want to take risk or no risk? Well, I really don't want to lose my money. All right, we'll put it in Amazon and Apple and Tesla and and you make some money until now when everything dumps and you lose all your money. So there's always that moment that the stockbroker won't tell you. that I will. Oh, inflation's high. Get the fuck out of the market. And I've told you this for 2 years now. If you want, go back 2 years into my videos. They're all on the channel. And I say, get the fuck out of the market. 2 years ago, I dumped the market. I haven't been in 2 years. I know Bobby asked me, are you in the market? No, not in the market. Out of the market. It's going to crash. But again, we don't know the exact time. And I sold out and I'm in gold. And as Bobby knows, I sleep well at night because when I wake up and the banks are starting to go under, I have $2,000 in the bank. The bank can go under. If I lose my $2,000, I lose it, but I don't think I'll lose $2,000. All I want it to do is pay my bills. So I'm in the bank strictly to get my deposits in to pay my bills out. That's it. Nothing else, no savings. That all goes and sits in my safe and in my gold and silver. That's it. So the safe money is the extra. Oh, I had to go to the dentist. I got to help Jenna out with her kid. I had to help Daria out. I had to help whoever. That's what that extra money's for. But that's it. With gold and silver, I can't lose. You can never lose. It's the surest. That's why it's a 100-unit lock. And you know my 100. I've never had a 100-unit lock on my show or on my website. I had a 35-unit lock. Was it 35-unit or 50-unit lock? I think it was a 50-unit lock. Golden State game 2 last year in the finals, and it won by 40 points for laying 3. That's it. Otherwise, in football, they're 25, they're 30-unit locks, and most of them win. Not all of them, but most of them win. I'm not Bernie Madoff. I don't go 100%. Bobby, thanks for putting me in with the all-time great. Hey, Bobby, I speak the truth. So whatever's in my mind goes. The Bobby Bowes. Well, we got to give you some credit here, Bobby. I mean, you had to hit 4th behind Barry, so I just wish you hit another 300-400 home runs, and then your rookie card would also be worth $100,000 like Joe Montana and those. Although Bonds and McGuire's rookie cards aren't worth anything because of the steroid bullshit. Like, how did that matter? That didn't make them better ball players. It didn't make them better hitters. The hand-eye coordination is there, not because of steroids. Anyway, so let's think of any type of situation that you would have lost with gold and silver. None. It's impossible to lose with gold and silver because it's out of the government. And who's the evil? The government. How does these Goldman Sachs and everybody else lose money? And what's with the bank and the bank runs? The bank runs are fear that the banks are closing. So you're trusting the bankers. And the bankers don't know what the fuck they're doing, apparently, because all these banks are collapsing. Now, as he said, the couple of the banks were crypto banks. Yeah. Okay, so that's not real. And then Silicon Valley is more startup and internet and crypto banks. Okay, fine. And it was all Clinton and Obama people who were obviously didn't know what the fuck they were doing and milking the money. So that was really done by idiots. Okay, we get that. Not a JP Morgan or a Chase or Wells Fargo people who are actual bankers, or Alistair McLeod or Andrew Maguire, who actually know what's going on. So that's what we know is you invest the money to make money. So you buy stocks and you're hoping to make what? 5%, 10%, 20%, 100%? Are you delusional? Okay, so let's say you're trying to make 10% on your money and you bought Amazon stock and you bought Tesla stock and you made 10% on your money. And then now it's coming down. Now you're not making 10%. Now you're not making any money. Have you pulled your money out of the stock market? Do you know to pull your money out of the stock market? No. Does the broker tell you to pull his money out of the stock market? No. So you're fucked now. So all the money you made, so you turned 100,000 into 200,000 is now going to be worth 10,000, right? And you'll be lucky to get it out. So you don't know when it goes up and you don't know when it goes down. If you're in gold, you don't care. You don't need that. As I said, if you bought it in 2008, when this first crisis was happening, it was $850 an ounce. You bought your $100,000 of gold at that point, 25 ounces, something like that, you'd have more than doubled your money with no risk. You would not have had risk with gold. This is the part they don't tell you. Have you ever made money in this, holding this? No, because this doesn't go up. It only goes one way. It use 23. Has it ever gone up? No. Has gold ever gone down substantially in the free market? Never. Yeah, whatever. JP Morgan, he paper derivatives it down a little bit, but it doesn't stay. So you can't lose in gold. You can't. I mean, unless you bought it on Monday and you want to sell it on Friday and the derivatives hit and you just get in a timing thing. But if you just stayed in it, no reason to sell it. Just watch it go. You cannot lose. You cannot. It'll never go to zero. It'll never really go down. You buy it now at 2,000. You'll never see. If you see 1,800, it'll be temporary. But you're going to see 50,000 without risk, because that's the real value. So you're buying something that's real value is much, much higher. Tesla stock, GM, Ford, Amazon. You buy it at $100 a share. Is it going to 5,000? Not now. Are any stocks going up? Not now. They're all going down. They're all going through the roof down. And the thing is, you have no control of it. You don't know the owner of the company. Your broker sure shit ain't going to tell you. Where was the guy's broker in attack on Wall Street? Why did he have to lose all of 60,000? Where was the guy to say, you know what? You better pull your money out now. There's some shit happening. Because it doesn't happen at once. It happens, they see it, and then it happens, and then the shit hits the fan. So when you first saw it, why wasn't he on the phone saying, or just move them out? You know, I'm putting you to a CD at 2%, and you'll have 55,000. But no, he doesn't tell him, and the guy loses everything. So the guy took his revenge, and he killed him. So that was a good killing. Like, you saw that, you're going, yeah, he deserved it. But nobody's watching you. And the guy who's a security guard has no fucking idea what he's doing. So you want to be in something that you don't need to have an idea about, which is gold and silver. You get out of the market because it's crashing. I just showed you Alistair saying, what is crypto? I just read the value of money. Is it acceptable? Is it scarce? Is it portable? If you don't have internet, can you get to it? Does anybody want it? It's not acceptable. I can't go to the grocery store with crypto. I have to sell the crypto to get money to do it. Now, I'm going to do that with gold and silver. When the money becomes useless and I want to go to Target or I'm going to go to Kroger's, yeah, I'm going to sell a silver ounce and I'm going to get $2,000, whatever it is. It won't be this. It'll be the new dollar that JP Morgan will print, which will be used for money. And I'll use that to go to the grocery store. Keep in mind, if the new dollar is not backed by gold, it's going to go to zero also. Every dollar that is made that is not backed by gold goes to zero. And that's what's happening to this one. So when you start thinking about gold and silver and you start thinking about the whole world of finance and you start thinking about why do you invest, you don't invest to lose money. But if you don't know what you're doing, if you go to a craps table but you don't understand craps, or go play blackjack, you don't understand blackjack, or you bet football but you don't understand it, are you going to win at it? Hell no. So if I go and put my money in a real estate investment trust because I'm getting the higher interest rate because they're mortgages, right? So what am I buying? I'm buying other people's mortgages, go back to the bank, and then the bank takes a percentage and gives it to you and keeps the other percent. It's based on them paying off their mortgages, right? So as long as I got a mortgage and it's 5% and it's, $300,000 and I pay my $1,500 a month, everybody's happy. You raise interest rates on me and I'm not smart enough to get a fixed rate. I get a variable rate and now it's $2,500 a month to pay my mortgage. I can't do it. I default. No money goes to the bank and no money goes to you. Anybody that buys a variable mortgage doesn't know what they're doing. When I bought my $350,000 house, it was fixed at 5%, and I was happier than shit. And I put down a lot down, and I had $1,000 a month payment. This was before I got divorced. And I could have been happier. And then we get divorced, and my idiot wife sells it. Dude, you're in it at $1,000 a month. You can't get an apartment for $1,000. I'm paying $1,400 for my apartment right now. You can't find a fucking apartment for $1,000 a month. You're in a house. Okay, yeah, you got property taxes, which are probably $2,000 a year or something, and you had to heat it and air condition. So there was cost to being in the house. Maybe she rents it out. I don't know, but why would you sell it? And then if you're going to sell it, wait till it goes back to 400,000. So people are buying houses, and they're buying stocks, and they're buying Bitcoin to make money. That's the underlying value, but they don't see is they can also lose money. You're in Madoff to make money, but you don't see you can also lose money. You can lose money in a house based on interest rates. You can lose money in the stock market based on the economy going south and interest rates. Apparently, the banks are having bank runs, and banks are going out, and there's a big banking crisis. There's a whole lot more than a banking crisis. The whole fucking economy is down the tubes, and it's dead, but nobody knows it but us. So you have all these things. So the point is, I'm trusting other people who don't give a fuck about me. I'm got my money in high risk stuff, even though I don't think it's high risk stuff. And when I lose it, it goes to zero. I can't get my money out because I don't know until it happens that I'm in trouble. But you know the professor, and you know this class, and I'm telling you 5 steps ahead of what's happening. And I'm saying the banks are going, get your money the fuck out. Now, I told you that 2 years ago. Get your money the fuck out of stocks. Get your money out of banks. How much money you got in the bank, Howard? Not much, a few $1,000s. It's all sitting in gold and silver, or the money's in my safe at home. There's nothing in the bank. I don't trust the bank. I'm not in charge of the bank, so I don't know who the hell I'm dealing with. And they don't care about me. And I'm going to wake up and they're going to say, you don't have any money in your account. Or I can think 5 steps ahead and go, well, I'll pull all my money out now while I can. Then if it collapses, fine. And if it doesn't collapse, I push back a couple thousand. Meanwhile, I'm going to invest my money. And where am I going? Gold and silver. Well, gold and silver doesn't go up. It doesn't give dividends. We're told by the JP Morgans, put your money in stocks and bonds. The plot thickens. That's what we're told. We don't give a fuck. We don't know. We're stupid because we don't have masters in Austrian economics. The little bit of economics and finance we do have, we don't really know what that is either. So you're sitting there in this black hole, we'll call it. I just watched Galaxy Quest, so you don't know. You're clueless. But the problem is when the shit hits the fan, you've got no money. Wait a minute. Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't the guy warn the guy in Attack on Wall Street? He's got 60 grand. At some point, he probably had 50 grand. And it's going to zero because he understands what's happening. At what point, why didn't he tell the guy? Or call him going, there's a trouble here. I'm going to cash you out now at 50 grand. You lost 10 grand, but at least you didn't lose everything. Now he loses everything. Why didn't he tell him? He's got so many clients, he doesn't care. And I doubt he knows what's going on. Oh, well, we're going to do this investigation and then there's no investigation. Variable interest rates went up and people couldn't afford to pay because they never should have bought the house in the first place because they didn't have the credit or the established to pay the mortgage. If it went from 2% to 3%, nobody had the money for it. And I know a lot of girls in Vegas were buying 4 houses, buying them as an investment. And when the shit hit the fan, they couldn't afford 4 houses. They couldn't afford 1 house. But I know I've talked to girls in Vegas who did that, and I just laughed at them, of course. So what you have is you're trying to make money on your own, but you don't have the capacity to make the money or the skill set to make the money. So you listen. I'll buy Amazon stock. I'll never forget. I'm in Meijer's grocery store, and we're waiting to get to the register. And I go to the guy in front. What do you think of these prices? Or he said it to me, and I says, well, where do you have your money? Oh, it's an Amazon. That never goes down. And I pull up the chart, and it had just gone down like $20. I'm going, I thought it doesn't go down. Well, I'm safe in Amazon, but I don't know why, but I am. I'm a doctor, and I just kind of laughed at him. And then I said, oh, my money's in gold and silver. And you'd have thought I was talking Japanese or something. So instead of pulling his money into gold and silver, where he'd be $100,000 richer now, he's probably still in Amazon wondering, oh, it'll go up now. I don't know why, but it'll go up, just like crypto. Well, I don't know why, but it'll go up. Is crypto backed by gold and silver? No. Then it's not going anywhere. So as it hits me, you know what? If you put your money in the gold and silver and you go to sleep and you wake up in 10 years, you're going to have 3 times the amount that you had with you'll never wake up to zero. You're only going to wake up to how much money did I make? And if you bought it at $8.50-ish an ounce in 2008, and now it's 2000, you made 100%, 1,700, and another 50. You made 150% on your goal. No risk, not going to zero. Nobody at the fucking bank can bother you with it. There's no broker that you're going to fuck with. It's a no-brainer. You can't lose. You can only make money, and now you're going to make a lot of money with it because it's about to blow up because nobody wants this. And JP Morgan is, what are they going to, they got the monopoly on printing, but nobody wants what they're printing. Russia, China are going to come out with the gold exchange and money backed by gold, even though there's about to be a war over it. It's not a war that the U.S. really wants to fight. I don't think they want to fight Russia and China because they're going to come out with a gold standard. So I think the U.S. is finally cooked. And now we're going to see gold at a real price. I'm hoping what it should be and what they'll allow it, we got to see. It should be a lot more than 2,000. So we will see. And that's really what I've kind of figured out, right? If you were in gold, you wouldn't have gotten fucked by Madoff. You wouldn't have got fucked by real estate investment trusts with Goldman Sachs, with JP Morgan, with anybody. You wouldn't have your money in the bank. Now you don't. You wouldn't have your money just in the safe lose value, right? So the money in my safe's losing value. The money in my gold's gaining value. Again, it's priced in dollars, but dollars should be priced in gold. If you price everything in gold, it'd be a whole different kettle of fish. And that's really what they need to do. So what you have is this huge opportunity of you don't have any risk. All you got to do is go buy gold and silver, keep enough money to pay your bills. That's it. And then, a vacation or something. You can't lose. It's a lock, as we talk in football. It's a bet I can't lose. It can only go up. And where are you going to find that opportunity? And yet, you'll never hear it from anybody else because nobody else can think like me. They don't get it. You go to your broker now, and I'll bet anybody $1,000. They go to their broker. If you have, I don't have a broker. I'm my own broker. If you go to your broker, Bobby went to his broker or his dad or his cousin or anybody else, Nick, Ryan, anybody goes to their broker, they're going to tell them to buy stocks and bonds. And they're not going to tell them the risk. And right now, you're getting in when it's about to collapse, right? Because the money is collapsing. The banks are collapsing. Who the fuck's buying stock? They're all collapsing because a lot of their money's in the banks. So if I'm GM and my money's in, Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo starts out, or my money's in Silicon Valley Bank, I'm done. I have no money. I can't run my business. So, as these banks start going under, businesses start failing. people will need money and they go to their stocks and pull it because that's because that's where they have it. But you will not have any broker tell you to buy gold and silver. None. Yet it's the simplest, no brain. And even if you bring it up to them, they won't, they don't get commission on it. So that's not in their best interest to tell you to go buy gold. They might tell you to buy the ETF, which is not gold. It's not physical. You want to own the coins or the bars. You do not want to hold an ETF, even the gold stocks. You don't want to hold them. You want to hold the physical coins because nobody can take them from you. Now, the government, they're not going to take them. They'll just do the tax on it. Oh, you sold your gold. We got to tax you. It's capital gains, bullshit. Okay, fine. But you're not stealing it from me. I mean, I sell them for 50 grand. Okay. Oh yeah. 2,000. Okay. Better than, I've got $60,000 in gold and silver and now I have zero. You'll never hear that story. I did a chart yesterday on gold. I went back to 2005 or something. Really, it would have gone all the way back. It never, you had 1 or 2 years where it dropped, but then quickly went back up. And you got the central banks buying it. So you've got demand. And if you got demand in it, it's not going down. Things that are demanded go up. It's just JP Morgan putting the foot on the brake because of COMEX fake bullshit derivative paper gold, which we know it isn't, which we know it's going to be much higher. So not only are you going to get, you can't lose because it's not a bank and it's not a stock. So your gold is never going to zero, but you're about to make 100 times on your investment with no risk. Please tell me where you're going to do that. Where else can you do it? Betting football, playing poker, at the casino, in the stock market, buying a house, buying a Picasso, buying diamonds, Mickey Mantle and Bobby Bocards. Where the fuck are you going to get no risk? Maybe Mickey Mantle. I would see probably no risk in a Mickey Mantle card going down if it's a PSA 10. So if you have a 65 tops Mantle PSA 10, probably not going to go down in value. The Jordan rookie, probably not. You got the Montana PSA 10 at 100 grand, probably is not going to zero. So do keep that in mind. Those are your exceptions. Those are your other, which your broker's never putting. He's putting you in stocks and bonds. As you can see, the bonds are all fucked because as he raises the interest rates from 2% to 5%, the bond price, when interest rates go up, the price of the bond goes down. You're getting fucked on the price because the interest rates are up. So therefore, you're getting fucked all over the place, but not in gold and silver. Nothing can happen to you. They're not going to confiscate you, and they're not. At worst, they tax you if you can't get to Switzerland or someplace that, although Credit Suisse, I don't know, USB, they're both Swiss banks, so Credit Suisse has problems. How these banks are that stupid and get caught into an interest rate issue blows my fucking mind. Okay, how do you not know he's raising interest rates? Powell is saying he's raising interest rates. And that's not even in Switzerland. It's in America, so I don't even know what the fuck the Swiss are doing. I thought they were good bankers. Egon, I don't know. I got to talk to Egon. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Anyway, that's the problem. The banks aren't going to tell you. The stocks, the real estate, anything you're dealing with a Goldman Sachs, they're not going to call you, Bobby. Sorry, your stock's going down. You better sell now. You getting that phone call, Bobby? You ever got that phone call in your life? And you got a lot of money, Bobby, and all these baseball players. So if you're LeBron James and he's smart enough to get into this class, what am I going to tell him? Well, LeBron, how much money you got? How much gold do you got? So you need to change your money into gold, and it won't cost you anything because it's the same value, right? You take $1 million of your dollars and you buy $1 million of gold. You didn't spend a dime. Only you got security now, and you got something that's going up for something that's going down. Oh, well, Howard, I got investments, and I've got this stock and I got the LeBron company and the Bobby Bow tennis shoe I'm in and all this shit. And I'm like, LeBron, fuck all that. Just put it into gold and go to sleep and wake up. And your $1 million turned into 20 million and your risk is zero. And that's what I would tell anybody with money. And it doesn't have to be that much. It could be $50,000. Get out of fucking dollars, get out of the bank, buy your gold, find a safe place, and that's it. You're going to go back to the coin store and sell it when you want, when you need money. Otherwise, you probably won't even sell it all. You give it to the kids, the girlfriends, whatever it is, because, you know, if it's 50,000 an ounce, I don't need to sell 10 ounces. I just need to sell 1 ounce, and I need to go to the Mercedes dealer and buy a car with the other ounce. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to go buy a house with 1 ounce of gold. So you pay $2,000 for it, and you're getting a $500,000 house. Where else are you going to do that? Certainly not with money, and certainly not with stuff. So please keep that in mind. This is why it's a lock. This is why it's a 100-unit lock. You can only win with it. Can they make gold illegal? Is that a risk? I don't see how that could be. They'd be like saying, "Oh, your Mickey Mantle cards are illegal, or your diamonds are illegal." Can they say that? I don't think they can. I've never heard it be. Now, yes, you couldn't own it in the, I think in the 30s and 40s. I don't think you could own it. Even in the 60s, I don't think you couldn't own it till the 70s when we were on the gold standard. But I guarantee you could still sell it and people still underground and they could get it. So I think you still could have done that. But in my estimation, it's the safest. Now, if they take the gold away from you, everything else, it doesn't matter what you're in, you're going to get fucked. But I don't think they can take the gold. They might hurt the value, which is what they're doing, but I don't see how they actually, it's illegal to own gold. Okay, I'll take it to Switzerland and own it there. Or, in the whole world, it's illegal to have gold. Well, I ain't giving it up, but I just don't see that happening. Maybe it will, but then you're fucked all over the place. Is it illegal to own money? Is the whole system going to be that corrupt? I don't know. But to me, gold's an asset, which it's legal to own and legal to buy and sell. So I don't see, if it is, then you're going to put a lot of business out. People that buy and sell gold coins and silver are out of business. The Fed prints gold and silver. They print the Eagles and the Liberties and all that. So I don't see every country doing it. So if you need to, you jump on a plane and you take your gold and you go sell it there. But I just don't see it getting to that point where they make it illegal to own it. Now, yes, it was illegal to own. And so you really have it being held down for so $35 an ounce was probably, even that's probably was a couple thousand an ounce. I mean, this could be $1 million an ounce because it's really been held down for a long, long time at $35 was probably not a good, World War II, you think it's still 35 an ounce? Then you had the massive inflation in the 70s. It went from 35 to 800. And that was still, I think, maybe it wasn't COMEX at that point. Maybe COMEX came in because of that to keep the price down. I don't know. COMEX is illegal, what they're doing. So I don't know. I don't see that happening, but anything can happen. But let's just think it's not happening. So with that said, it's a lock. It's the safest thing you can put your money into. Now, maybe that's what happened. You couldn't own gold. People put their money in the stock market, possibly. But the 1929 crash was before gold. Gold was like 1933. You couldn't own it. Now, they didn't come to your house and take it. But if you sold it, you had to sell it like black market, right? And and then you couldn't own it. So if you still had it, if I was around in 1929, I would have avoided the stock market crash, and I would have had the gold. And when they say we need your gold, I would have not. You never would have touched my gold in the 30s and 40s. So they're not coming to your house and stealing it from you. They're just you'll just have to figure out a way to spend it. But that's not happening now. That's worst case scenario. They could make it illegal, I guess, but I'm not worried about that. That's not stopping me from buying it. And like I said, if I need to go to Europe and sell it, I go to Europe and sell it. Anyway, so that's why I think gold's 100% lock, 100 unit lock. It's the only thing that can't go down because nobody can fuck with it, right? JP Morgan can lower it a little. If it was at physical market, if it was at supply demand real market, okay, it jumps to 65,000, maybe it goes down to 60,000. Then it could go down. But the way it's COMEX, it's not even close to being at the price it should be at. You can't lose with it. Short term, it goes down to $50, but that's not real. And the government can't fuck you. Madoff can't fuck you. And the banks can't fuck you. The currency can't fuck you. You're unfuckable. Excuse my French. Nobody can fuck with you with the gold and silver. And it can only go up. Because eventually, all the idiots out in the market realize that, oh shit, we're in the bank, it's collapsing. Oh shit, the stock market's collapsing. Oh shit, the houses are so expensive. Hey, why don't we get into gold and silver? Now, they don't think of it the way I do. They think of it in terms of, well, there's no dividend with it. So, it's not going to go up in value. That's how stupid they are. So they don't buy it because they only look at it in terms of return on investment, but not realizing it goes up. So they look at it going, well, there's no dividend. Why would I own something there's no dividend? Because the principal is going to go through the roof, right? It just went from 1,800 to 2,000. It's not a dividend, but the value goes up. So this is what the problem is. People look at it from a dividend standpoint, but why? Do you look at a Mickey Mantle card in a dividend standpoint? No, you go, oh, it's worth 500,000 now, PSA 10, and it's probably going to go up to 600. Or let's look at Joe Montana's rookie. We'll keep it simple. I spent $50 on the Joe Montana rookie. It's perfect condition, a little bit, maybe 60-40 off center, which I still can get a 10 on. If it's a 10, it's a $100,000 card. No dividend, but I can make a whole lot of money. If it's a 9, it's, let's say, worth 10 grand. Well, I know I didn't spend more than 100 on it. I didn't spend more than 100 on any card. Brady Topps Chrome Refractor rookie card, that's probably worth 80, 90,000. I think I did not spend more than 75 on, maybe 100. That was it. And I got a LeBron rookie worth 40 grand that I didn't spend much. So anyway, let's look at them as Mantle cards or Montana, the Montana rookie, 100 grand. Let's look at it like that. You buy that. Is it going to zero? No. Can it go up to 200,000? Possibly. You don't have a lot of risk once it's graded. But let's say it's not money. So I want to be in gold. So maybe there's more risk in the Montana 10 than there is in gold, just because could it go the Montana card? I don't think so. I don't think these PSA 10 cards, did they just shoot up because of COVID, or did they actually keep their value? Let's say they shot up at COVID and they're coming down a little bit, but they still went up in value where gold didn't go to 100,000, right? But there's no dividend in those, right? Baseball cards, there's no dividend either, but you would have been way ahead if you bought PSA 10 Montana rookies and Mantles. If you could find a PSA 10 Mantle, which you can't, and I'm talking his regular 1950, 1960 cars, not these remakes in 2000 that are upper deck Mickey Mantle, Triple Crown winner. That's not that. I'm talking his real cards. So that's the only thing that maybe compares. But why do you want to be in Bitcoin? I mean, it makes no sense. So anyway, that's why it's a lock. You're not not only are you not going to lose money, you're going to make money, and there's no risk. Now, where else could you find that? In a gold that is indestructible, right? Heat can't hurt it. Water can't hurt it. Put it in the freezer, not going to hurt it. It's been around since the Romans, since the Caesars, since the Romans won their first Super Bowl, beating the Germans 17-3, Russia or Rome over Germany. It was a good game. So that's really what you have is you have no risk, right? You have no risk. It's going to go up. Even if it didn't go up, you have no risk of losing it all, right? The banks can't say bank runs. We're closing the bank. The Madoffs, there's nothing that can happen. Inflation won't hurt. You can't inflate it unless there's 1 million ounces found. And even then, there's probably more demand. So basically, that's what you have. We're waiting for it to go up, but you can't lose. You sleep well. Nobody can fuck with you. The banks can't fuck with you. Stockbrokers can't fuck with you. The Morgan Stanleys can't fuck with you. Nobody can fuck with you with gold like they can where you put 60,000 in a stock or 60,000 in these REITs and lost your money. So keep that in mind. That's the whole synopsis today is, man, we've got something here that's a lock and nobody's paying attention to it. Get your money out of the bank, put it into gold. Get your money out of the stocks, put it into gold. Okay, the house is fine, but I'm not going to buy a new one with the high interest rates. So virtually, even if I had the Mantle or I do have the Montana rookie card, and I'd sell it for the $100,000 and buy the gold because I know the gold's going up. The Montana, will it stay? I don't know. It's a card. It's a 10. Our baseball card's going to keep going up, or did it really run up? And now they're going to start going down. Again, it's supply demand, but it's at least we've got real numbers. We know what the Montana is on eBay, and that's what it really is. Unfortunately, we don't know the real value of gold. It's a lot more than the $2,000 I see it. So that's my gold spiel. Basically, it's a lock. You can't lose. Nobody can fuck with you. Right? The banks, there's a bank run, you're fucked. Oh, the stocks, the REITs went down because people stopped paying their mortgage. Oh, you get fucked. There's nothing Madoff. Oh, it's a Ponzi scheme. Oh, Enron. Oh, it's a Ponzi scheme. Oh, all the banks, it's a Ponzi scheme. Oh, Credit Suisse. You can't get Ponzi schemed in gold unless it's not real, but that's why you buy, as I show you, the coins. 1 ounce of gold, USD. So you know exactly what it is. So that's really my point. You know what it is. Nobody can fuck you. The guy in the movie, 60,000 in gold, he'd have 70,000 in gold, and he needed the money. It would be right there. He'd pull it out of his safe, say, "Here's the gold. There you go, honey. I'm paying for your treatments." I call the broker. He says, "I don't have any money." You'll never get surprised in gold that you don't have the money. So just keep it in a safe place. It'll be fine. And then off you go. And then you'll always have the money. And that's really the key to it. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, that's what we've got. So we've covered basketball. Let me go through the games one more time. We got Alabama laying 7.5. We've got Princeton plus 9.5. We're taking Tennessee under 131. We're taking Michigan State under 137. We're taking Houston laying 7.5. We're taking Texas over 148. We're taking Connecticut over 140, and we're taking UCLA minus 2.5. Again, my final four are going to be Alabama, Tennessee, Houston, and UCLA. And Alabama's probably got the least chance of winning it all because they don't have the best defense. They got a good defense, but the team with the best defense. Football we talked about. Gold we've been talking about, obviously. Well undervalued. We know that. When will it pop? We got to look to Russia and China on that one. Stock market going to collapse. Just get out. And, like when I tell you to get out of the market or to get out of the banks, you just put your money on the sideline, you put it in your safe. And if nothing happens, you put it right back in. There's no penalty in taking it out, being safe. It's just like sitting, it's like not betting on a football game, right? I don't like it. I'm not betting it. Okay, the money's still there. You didn't lose it. And then you put your money back in on a game you like, or in basketball or poker. I didn't play the hand, so I didn't lose. I know in poker, there's a lot of hands that you don't call, saves you money. So it's not always about making money. It's about saving you money, right? Well, I have a pair of aces, but he's betting a lot, and there's 3 diamonds on board. All right, he's got I'm going to fold my aces. It was a good fold. I saved money. And that's a sense of what you're doing when I tell you get out of the banks, get out of the stock market. You're saving your money by not losing it. And then it's still there, and then you can jump in the next hand, or in this case, you can buy more gold and silver with it. Anyway, that's kind of what you want to do with it. My battery's running low. I haven't eaten really. Well, I had my avocado and some coffee. I got to cook a roast, and I'll probably have, maybe I'll make an omelet now. Yeah, I think I'll make an omelet and then cook a roast and go swim. Anyway, so I apologize. Yesterday I was at the dentist, and when you go to the dentist, I said, I don't have insurance. I'm on Social Security, and he doesn't charge me for the tooth. Excuse me. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. Have a good day. Take care. Hello?
Hello, may I speak to Howard Robbins?
Yeah, this is Howard. How are you?